I work with a lot of colours and textiles, but obviously I take a lot of influences from the past, like quite a lot of period ideas. And if you're using things from the past, and we're not talking about like a certain period, it's an eclectic idea of things from the 15th century, the 18th century, the 70s, the next millennium, all over the place, clean it all up. You give a kind of modern approach to it.
I just wanted to start with Selina's background because her grandfather was an architect named Detmar Blow, not to be confused with Selina's brother, who's named Detmar as well. And he built a very significant house in England called Hills in Gloucestershire. And it's an arts and crafts folly, would you say?
The arts and crafts movement, and he's under the passion of William Morris and bred with Ruskin, and was born in 1868, so he caught a moment of great curiosity. It's a long, narrow house, it's perched up on a hill. It's narrow, it's not built grandiose, it's a small door that comes into a bigger room and a bigger room, which I think is probably reflected in my work. It's sort of unexpected. My grandfather, Detmar, he was a stonemason. He got a scholarship at a young age, and he was in northern Italy, and he was drawing there. And this man came up to him behind a long beard and he said, "Why do you give up your scholarship? And, come with me." And my grandfather cost a lot of money and everything. I can't do that to my parents. And then turned out to Ruskin. Oh. So they travelled, or he would travel in Ruskin, and he brought out his mother, my great granny, and his younger brother. There's such charming stories of life, his concern, his worry for his parents. And so when people get prolific, people forget about the early days and the charm of a person and their vulnerability, like we all are. Right.
So you grew up in this magical house, which is still there, by the way, and your brother lives there, and you live on the grounds. You've got your cottage on the grounds. And your father was a writer and also a medieval historian. And
wrote about first century Palestine. So he spent a lot of time in the Middle East during the war, and he wrote about Crusaders. One of my brothers is called Amory, who's one signed Montfort's Crusader Knights. So he grew up in the extraordinary house with arts and crafts, but an incredible collection of tapestries and chain mail, and mixed Jacobean Stuart furniture and William Morris. So it was very eclectic. It was perched on this hill like a long, slim alley house with a sweeping valley. So it's a mixture of, rather than height, very Wagnerian in many different ways.
And then to add to the mix, Selina's father met this beautiful young Sri Lankan woman who'd been educated in England, and she was a model for Worth, who was one of the great British couturiers. It was at the time when the fashion shows would actually be, the patrons would be sitting in a room like this, and the beautiful models would walk through the pieces on, like Selina's going to do for us a little bit later. So add to that extraordinary mix of arts and crafts and armory and history is this beautiful, exotic Sri Lankan woman. And the whole family was really a very adventurous, artistic, pioneering family. And you grew up there in sort of a remote way. And you were all just sort of running around this extraordinary place. This confluence of cultures and the arts and crafts mixed with these very bright colors of Sri Lanka, because you talk about...
My mother missed the colours of Sri Lanka. We weren't like my father, who used to wear howdahs and chainmail, and my mother was... It was all quite common to us. We were late for school, they said, "Why are you late?" So we were chased by Vikings, that's fine. But I think, so it was very chaotic, it was very extraordinary, it was very isolating. My parents weren't that social, which added to the magic.
We were talking about where her journey with fashion began, and it really began at home in this extraordinary setting with the dress-up box.
So we used to do a lot of dress because my parents were very reclusive. We used to have this 1930s dress-up box and dress up as pirates, and they would take all the weapons off the wall, and then Detmar to chase with it as being a court sword. It was very painful. 70s flares. Right.
So her grandfather's 1930s clothes were in there, her grandmother's saris, pirate coats, chainmail, and you also talk about watching a lot of film as a child.
Yeah, I was saying earlier, film was very big for me, and my father went to see Ben-Hur when he was 6, the original, version in 1926, as a child with his nanny. I remember him telling us that. And we used to watch Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire. My brother's first record was Fred Astaire, when it could have been something much more racy of the period. And Al Jolson. And so I kind of grew up with all that sense of that kind of music's Paul Porter and South Pacific and Oklahoma. We could all sing Oklahoma in the morning. And so it was a sort of a curious time when my brothers all went off to school when they're 7 and I stayed at home. So my father's in the audience, so education for myself wasn't put on a priority. It probably made me so feisty to improve myself.
And you describe, in fact, your younger education as being somewhat erratic.
Yeah, I went to the village school when they were 8 and I was there till I was 10, so I guess so.
So when Selina was quite young, she did something sort of out of the ordinary for that, coming from that background, which was to move to New York City in 1989 and sort of breaking chains with the familyhood. And it wasn't sort of a norm for her peers. Selina just picked up and went to New York in 1989, which probably many of us experienced around that time. It was, a really exciting time for New York. And you just winged it when you got there.
I winged it, seat in my pants. Yes, I arrived and I was put up somewhere and I had like 3 weeks sleeping on the floor and get my shit together. I rented my house and got a small cottage at Persian. He thought I came with the rent, which I told him I didn't. And so with that money I bought my flight and I came. I was very determined because I grew up with all these old movies and things, and I thought New York was going to be Frank Sinatra, Soda Stream, ice cream parlours, and it was crack bums and stretch limos and Koch was just packing his socks away. I remember coming to the bridge and seeing Manhattan. He was like a theatre cutout. It was just spectacular, and it was just really very special. It was nerve-wracking, but I was very determined.
So you had a few connections through friends and family.
Yes.
Like you'd been introduced to Malcolm McLaren, and so he found you very intriguing and creative, and he asked you to do some styling for him. And then your future sister-in-law, Isabella Blow, was at Vogue at the time, so she would sort of drag you along to do some styling as well.
She used to take me to shoots, because when she came across our families, she thought we were extraordinary, so she took me off to these modelling shoots. And I was very, all we wore is gum boots, and I just gave me gum boots, and she was very shocked.
And so that sort of started your journey in New York. And you said something very interesting to me. You said you were always wary of the fashion world, but your love of textiles and clothes just continued to inspire you. So you continued in that world, but never over-influenced by the glamour or the, all the accoutrement around it, but just kind of had your head down and was just continued with this passion for textile and clothes.
I had a great love of textiles from the house, my mother's, Sri Lanka, the colours, that, and so I was very into theatrical clothes and the construction of theatrical clothes. And there was a shop in London. I saved up my money and to buy all these opera coats and caviar to take them apart, see the pigskin canvas, the lining, the weights and things. I was fascinated by the construction and the discipline of that. I found that the beauty of it all. And I was very wary, and I think that's probably been my bonus in a funny way. So I didn't have any assumptions of myself, and I didn't have any ego. I didn't feel like to be this person or that person, and so I just gave it a shot, as they say.
And you started with a few patterns, and then you got a few orders, and then you totally self-financed everything, and then suddenly you were bought by Henry Bendel's, Charivari, and you were sort of off and running making clothes and having a Selina Blow collection.
Yeah, so I worked, kept my head down, and I worked, and so I saved my money. I put it, the first collection I did was on kind of the height of Bonnie Prince Charlie. So I got all these tweeds and velvets and harlequins coats. I did different panels, and my mother did these hand-carved buttons. So they had great distinctiveness, and I went to this shop in London. Westminster does all the Archbishop's beautiful robes, classical fabrics. I decided to go there. I had to do some commissions for the Upper East. People were so supportive. And Mark Jacobs was working at Perry Ellis, and he used to help me with the fit model. I was to run around Isa Mizrahi, helping. So I was very in touch with the generosity and the kindness and the support. And then I met Suzy in Andre Montali, who's a very flamboyant character. He sent me to Bergdorf's, and I did this big collection, Ivan the Terrible, which I thought was absolutely wonderfully switched. They took a different approach, and I put squash balls in the base of it so it bubbled as you walked. So I thought it was quite fun, like balls running underneath you. They didn't understand the aesthetic, they said we don't dress cardinals, and they just thought I was taking the piss. And then I was very lucky, and I got right up in women's wear, so everyone remembered their manners, and they pitched up. And then I went back to England. I shared the studio with Alexander McQueen and Philip Tracy. We all lived in this rundown house, put the money in the meter, and we had Philip singing feathers. Alexander probably nicking everyone's stuff like he did, and then we had a chick in the bag, and we just worked all night. But it was very exciting, and it wasn't about branding, it wasn't about imagery. We were just trying to make beautiful, curious things. So it's essence, purity, historically ideas here, there, everywhere.
I think it would be fair to describe the real essence of your work. The signature of your work is the tailoring.
I always like tailoring because I was very influenced by the kind of Hitchcock films in the 30s, 39 Steps, a nipped-in waist, the kind of masculine shoulder. So it all starts from the shoulder, and the nipped-in waists, and kind of elongated silhouette. So detail is very important to me, beauty, because it's your soul. You put your soul into it. It's really relevant. So it's discovery. It's a magical journey. Outside, it's severe, it's sharp, it's clean, and then you go inside, like a lad, open the genie, and then all these little details, funny things. You don't see them. You don't notice them. You might flip on the back of a chair, and you think, oh, that's kind of sharp. But the reason I put different things inside is to get people to think outside the box. And if it's occasional, it's like a death call, because you're never going to wear it, and you might buy a hot tub or something instead, which is a waste of money. And so inside the cage is it's showing that you can do things, it's your way, how you want to wear it, but enjoy it, make it your friend.
I mean, her pieces are absolutely timeless. And they are whimsical, but always elegant, and there's always a beautiful sense of color and textile. And the great thing about Selina that I appreciate so much is that it's still bespoke. So when she brings her kit and you try on a piece, she gets out that tape measure and she's measuring and she makes little tweaks, and she also helps you decide what's right for you and your lifestyle and where you're going, what you're doing. And it becomes a piece that you live with for the rest of your life. So your daughter is 21 and your son is how old?
24.
24. And they want to wear your pieces.
Yeah, they're really irritating. And I did actually make my son a suit, and it's very sweet. Someone said to me actually, "Where's your suit from?" He said, "Selina Blow." "Oh, get out of there. My mum buys from there. You can't afford that." And he said, "That's my mum." Oh, shit. So that is kind of fun. I saw a young girl, and she belted a coat, and I recognised, I didn't say Selina, and I said, "Look sharp," and she said she picked it up off her near the web. And I was really chuffed. I thought, good, my job is done, and that means a lot to me.
Selina's clothes are very highly collectible today, but also there's a younger generation that are very interested in her clothes. And like you said, we're seeing young people finding vintage pieces and
They wear, like, when they have a velvet jacket and they wear a hoodie underneath it. It looks fantastic. And I really like that. They kind of posh it out, so don't posh it out, dress it down. Wear it with flip-flops, take, you know, the punch out of it.
fashion is an ever-evolving, moving target, but Selina's always just stuck to, you know, just kept her head down and does what she believes in, and thus the longevity of her career. I mean, here she is, you know, still doing what she does so well, and with an extraordinary audience all over the world. But I always feel like buying a piece from Selina's An Education. She did bring some of her kit today, and do you mind, Selina, if we just
fine.
sort of have a look? Let's have a look at some of the pieces, and just give us a little tidbit about.
As I do what I can, and I do what catches my eye. Everything has a thought behind it. And like this, for instance, this is a double cut sheer velvet. This idea from the Grand Hotel it is, and it's cut like a chinchilla. And I put the raspberry inside, and this is 1930s lining, which makes it hang straight down. And the highball buttons, we put mother of pearl on the back, and so it gives it nice detail. This here, I don't know, this is from the Barefoot Contessa, you know, that wonderful dance where the gardener dancing around the fire and the tortured husband is above. And so this is not kind of a Disney thing, by the way. And so this all laces up. It laces up like here, and it's very corseted here, and it has a full skirt and quite a nice collar. And this is my trade colours, the lilacs and things. And then you've got a very nice, like it's a shirt dress. It's very simple, very tailored. The 30s were great for day dresses. And it's fit you on here, double cuff, and it's lined inside like that. And I do the highballs, which I think are more curious. And this is kind of, it's got a real mixture, but it has a slight sort of Persian slant to it. And I love this tweed. It's very rare to get like a buttercut tweed in the bottom. It's all matched up like this. And this is what I like about this one. It's lined in silk. And it's just my costing people go mad. So they can't get something cheaper. I think no, because this is a piece you should have your cover. You look at it, you smile, you think that's kind of a sharp piece to wear. And I like this. It's the Brussels linen. The weed is much stronger than the Irish linen, but that's got all the buttons there. So I do a lot of detailing down and then buttons on the side, and I put a kind of linen underneath it like that. This is a donegal. And this is the donegal. In Ireland, water is much softer, so the fabric is much softer. And in Scotland, it's like, you know, God knows, we want to go up there, past Hadrian's Wood and trouble. But it's much harsher, it's much colder the water is, so it gives it that sort of prickly sense to it. This is fun. I did these for the Met, and they have on the V&A. This is done from the Elizabethan collection.
So they have one at the V&A, and she's in museums. These pieces are in museums. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's interesting. Anyway, so that is with the hand stitching. But this is like your Barney's coat, and it's got a sort of sleeve set down.
What's the lining? Yeah, let's see the lining.
Oh, cool. Okay, so here, because that's the whole idea you see inside. And you don't see it. People say, why don't you put a cuff on it like that? I don't want to be like this weird thing.
But you wear that with a pair of jeans to the grocery store, and it's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And then you.
This is a very good German velvet.
But then, you know, you wear sort of a nicer pair of slacks and you put it on, you go to the San Vicente bungalows. And everybody's, you know, oohing and awing. So
and also people who don't really buy high-end fashion, who just like craftsmanship, they come and see that's a really sharp piece. And they notice the line. This is one of my favourite signature colours, which is a raspberry velvet. This is a very good, it's shot through with blue. It's the most beautiful fuchsia colour, and it's very rare to get colours like that because it's not volume, so you're really sniffing for truffles. And then inside we did this print. You don't think with your head, you think with your heart, right? And this is the front, it's a late 50s column dress, which is fun, it's very tight and fitted. It's a melton, which they make all the Royal Havre fabric out of. And this you wear with a pair of palazzo trousers. But it's got a great collar like that. And then inside, for Victoria, there's the brocade. This is a lot of beautiful silk chenille brocade. This is a menswear piece. We do a lot of menswear. So I prefer menswear because don't have a bosom. It's like a nightmare. And this is a nice tailoring piece, very simple. It's quite subtle purple lining inside. and the buttons, that's quite a sharp fit. This is the biker coat, which is all done with zippers. The shoulder goes right up like a wing, and all the top stitching and everything goes into it. And you zip it up in front, you zip it at the back.
And the cuffs too.
You can try that. You can look, it's like you're giving people slices of cake.
I can try it on.
Yes, and this is fun. I like this one. This is my mother, because she used to very high collars. This is a Donegal tweed. It has no, at the back, it's no darts. It's all done in drape.
Wow.
So you stick, so I'm quite chunky, so I can get into this one. Like that.
But look at that collar.
So that's kind of fun.
Oh,
It's
look
fun,
at
isn't
that.
it?
Draped beautiful.
Cloak's tricky, so you have to hand cut it. So you make a calico. A calico is like this, which you make. So menswear calico like this, and then you fit it, and then you go to cloth, because fit is critical. It has to be exact from the shoulders, because it's slightly off. It's like a building, it slides. This is another favourite of mine, because I like scents to Rudyard Kipling's. Here, this is a blue-green, it's unusual colour, blue-green velvet. Yes, this is a smoking jacket. I like this one. It's got slightly high collar. It's got like a Duchess silk inside.
Oh.
And I like, because everything has to be very sensitive about colour, so it's got to be really bang on. And then this is my trademark piece, which I might ask, Sharon, can you pop that on for a minute? Do you mind?
Look at that.
Wow.
Sharon, I knew from New York a long time ago. It's like this.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's spectacular.
It's quite sharp, so it's kind of nice cut behind like that.
It's very Sharon.
Oh, it's great.
Because Sharon's got, you know, she's got a good bit of metal and some sharpness there, but it's kind of fun, see, that's the point.
But then there's, ta-da. I like the way you make the sleeves really
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. Right.
I love the
Yeah, that's a brocade, and I put all those in, so it stops people from getting stuck. And then here, this is a good piece, this is here.
I have that.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite pieces.
This is fun, this is kind of like a fencing vest.
She knew your name was on that.
And it's like that, it goes like that, you see. And it's fun, they're very simple, very cheap.
Yeah. So it can feel incredibly casual, or
Right.
like I said, when you walk into the San Vicente bungalows.
I'm walking home with this.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh, that suits you so well.
So that is about it, so I can go now.
And you know, I just want to end by saying that, you know, one of the really remarkable things about Selina is, you know, she came up with all these extraordinary designers, and a lot of them are gone. And some of them flew very, very, you know, close to the sun and just spiraled out, and, you know, had great fame and fortune and what have you. But Selina's just carried on.
Yeah, I think it's funny, they had a show at the British Design Museum, they did 30 years rock fashion, and we were in the first wave. And then I just did shops in London, and then I come to New York or, you know, Los Angeles, bring some pieces, and people kind of go off the rack, or I do a fit and do a piece like that. But do you have any questions, anyone?
You took the words right out of my mouth. Does anybody have questions?
I have a question that's semi-related. What do you wear under your chainmail?
Okay, well, I don't actually physically wear chainmail, but thank you for your interest. They used to wear these very thin silk shirt or something like that. Because originally chainmail, if you came off your horse, you were done for because you couldn't move. I love that whole aerobatic
It's
Joan
so
of Arc.
cool.
It's phenomenal, you know, that's a walk around the face.
Also, the drape of all of your clothes is so exquisite.
Thank you.
Really, it's just the tailoring is great on it.
Thank you. It's brilliant. It's very relevant to me. Thank you.
Quite proud of this piece. It's all like, it's a silk taffeta linen, and it is all handmade with canvas down the front and with the collar, and all the buttonholes are hand finished. So even like the small little detail, we take enormous amount of trouble with it, which enhances the sort of timeless feel about it. So things like that, which are actually very powerful. I feel pleased by that. So I think that's going to last longer than I will.